So we're going to get together and we're going to talk about the payment solution Integrapay. Our presenter tonight is David Urry. He's the co-founder of Integrapay in 2009 and known within the payment industry as a product innovator. David is the Chief Experience Officer for Integrapay. He's charged with ensuring experience with the Integrapay suite of products and services are out of this world and simplify the payment process for business and clients. And we were telling David before, while we were talking before, that it is one of the most favourite payment solutions that everyone talks about. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of tonight. You can post questions below and we'll monitor them and we'll ask David as we're going along. So if you're playing along at home during dinner, please post questions. But thank you. I'll hand over to David.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, well, well, thank you very much for that introduction. And yes, I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Integrapay, but I'm also one of the founders. And yeah, well, I suppose founders, owners of the company, and one of the people behind our entity. What Integrapay is, and what I'll do actually is also play a bit of a small video up on screen as well. But what Integrapay is a recurring and real-time payment solution. We assist businesses with cash flow. Through this providing efficient payment services for the collection of either recurring-based transactions, whether it's using our platform or a platform, an external CRM platform, or like in this particular case, which we'll talk a little about tonight, Xero, but also real-time transactions. So whether you have a website or wish to collect invoices online, we have solutions for that to allow for real-time payment of those transactions from all major credit cards. And obviously, with recurring-based transactions, it's through bank debit. We actually provide those facilities and the security behind those facilities to allow the businesses to securely collect those transactions. But at the same time, we're taking away a lot of the regulation away from businesses as well. So essentially, for a business to go out and get a direct debiting facility, it actually is quite an expensive process to go down. They can engage Integrapay, and we can have them set up within 24, 48 hours and automatically debiting people's accounts with their authorization, obviously. So, but I'll just flip over here and I'll play this little demo about Integrapay, and then we can talk more about, I suppose, the payments themselves. I don't really want to do a big push about Integrapay, but more or less about cash flow. So I'll just flip over here. Bring that over, stand up.
To help them get paid on time. No matter if you're a service business or you sell products, if you're big or just starting out, Integrapay is your solution to freeing up your cash flow. Your customers will enjoy a choice of payment methods like BigPay, Bank Deposit, and all the major credit cards, and their payments land straight into your business bank account. For one-off, scheduled, recurring or subscription payments, everything can be managed within your easy-to-use Integrapay console. If you have customers on account, forget chasing payments anymore. Make collecting retainers and monthly accounts simple with our set and forget solutions. Use Integrapay on its own or connect it to all sorts of popular business management systems so you can easily integrate your payments to your inventory, invoicing and reconciliations. We put you in control with 24/7 online access to your Integrapay console anywhere, from any device. With a complete payments end-to-end solution, everything you need to start taking payments is right here for you. We're all about making business easier, so our fees are simple to understand and protect your margins too. Simple, budget-friendly, and a complete solution for every business. Want to learn more? Visit Integrapay today.
Alright, so they click through it now. So basically, that's our team. So we've got this is probably 6 main directors, but we are managers, account managers and such. But we have, like I was saying before, just shy of 40 odd staff scattered throughout, Australia and over in the USA as well. Integrapay is a global company. We're processing transactions in Australia, New Zealand, USA, UK. They're our main markets. We're just about to open up in Canada. We're doing Singapore, and we're also doing United Arab Emirates as well. So we are quite spread out when it comes to the transactions. We have a full range of payment methods, and I think they actually come up there quite well. But in regards to all our transactions are tokenized, security is obviously paramount in our business. We're PCI level 1 compliant. We have been from day one, which actually is the same level of PCI, which is the payment card industry standard put in place by the card scheme, so Visa, Master, Amex, Diners. And we've been level 1 ever since the company started, because we actually are, as far as the security and the protection of the credit card data, it's the top priority. So we have a fraud monitoring system in the background as well that manages every transaction that goes through our system, whether it's actually IP addresses or whether it's the card types, identifying whether there's phishing happening, and where our systems immediately alert that 24/7. And our team straight on to anything that may have happened that looks like fraud. Let's move on. Like I was saying before, we've got direct debit, BPay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Apple Pay. That's in development at the moment, so it's probably a bit, we shouldn't have actually had that up there yet, but it's on its way. We're also we'll have China Pay and Alipay coming online soon as well. So we have, obviously there's a diverse range of people that visit Australia, and China Pay actually as a transaction is becoming more and more popular. We're probably on season out there now through certain tellers. Methods of payment, I think we can pay with China Pay at almost every Woolworths and Coles at the moment. So, like I was saying, we have a very vast global reach, and one of our main the reasons that we are very heavy in cash flow and helping businesses with their cash flow is our recurring payments. So it's I suppose our flagship product. Myself personally, I've been now in recurring based transactions for over 17 years. And our team as well have been in recurring payments for almost, if not just as long. So recurring payments, what really are they? So it's direct debit from bank account or credit card. It's quite simple. You have an authorization that the customer completes, and then they're giving you their bank account, they're giving their credit card details. It's securely stored in our system, and there's a schedule attached to it when the transaction is to occur, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever the frequency is, variable amounts, our systems cater for that. So the direct debits themselves can be stored within and managed from within our systems. We provide all our clients with actually a full online console.
If the recurring payment has to change, such as X company puts its prices up and you have to on-charge them,
yes.
Do they all need to re-sign up again?
No, they don't. No, what they're actually signing for is for the amount that's actually shown on the direct debit form or but it's a paper-based form or electronic. We do provide both. Mm-hmm. So they're signing up for that initial amount and or the total amount for the specified period. And that's actually the wording that's actually used on the direct debit form. So what they're allowing you to do there, or what they're agreeing to, is for the amount that's shown, or if there's been a change, with their contract with you, at any stage, they've already authorised for that increase or decrease to the direct debit. They don't have to actually sign up. Also, just on that, I actually have a lot of clients as well that may be using, another provider. They may have even their own direct debiting facility with the bank. So in other words, they've already debiting people's accounts, but they want to move away from either using the other provider or the bank into Integrapay because of what we actually provide. Now, I get asked a similar question: do I have to have all my customers sign up? And the answer to that is no. All we have to do is provide clients with a 14-day notice. So the customers with 14-day notice that we're changing providers, and then Integrapay is able to start doing the direct debits, and continuing on from that point.
So moving it is frictionless.
It is frictionless. It's quite simple. And I have a lot of other little tricks up my sleeve within our back-end system to help that even further. But it's quite frictionless.
I don't know whether you're aware that if you hit 100 employees in Xero, you start getting charged for all the extra employees in Xero. and it just hits you. So you've already charged the client, and then all of a sudden your charge has gone up, your own personal charge. So you have to on-charge. So if there are 100 subscription, you have to, it changes every month, potentially.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I was unaware of that actually. Yeah.
Yes, $2 per employee over 100, which is fair enough. That's in their terms and conditions. Except you've got a moving target because you don't know how much payroll they're processing necessarily.
Yeah. Now, I'll move on from the recurring payments. We've got the hosted payments, and that's what I was sort of saying. And this is actually the way that our Xero works as well. If I can diversify slightly, but the hosted payments is where we're providing businesses with a online, secure SSL payment page where they can either link from their website to allow a customer that they've either provided an invoice to simply make payment. So beforehand, a lot of businesses would actually come to would have to actually go to the web provider, create a whole new page with more security certificates and the likes, just to be able to accept or allow their customers to go to my page and pay an invoice. And now, excuse me, so with our hosted payment page solution, we take all of that out of the equation itself. It's very simple. It's automatically created whenever we create an account. It's fully, so we provide all the hosting, we do all the end of that particular page and the secure link, so and the transaction happens in real time. And once again, that's actually an example of one of our hosted payment pages. So it allows for the customer to enter the amount, transaction reference, invoice number, and obviously select the card or the bank account where they would like their funds to come from. There we go. Transparent redirect, this is getting more into detail, I won't go into that, but a transparent redirect is where you actually, if you went to a website and you're staying on their website. So it's probably getting a bit more, but it's more IT related technical solutions for specific shopping carts or businesses that want an environment where their customers not being moved to another page, they're staying within themselves. So it requires a bit more development, but it actually is a very secure and seamless way of doing the transaction. Excuse me. Virtual terminal. Sometimes you may want to do transactions over the phone, or some customer would like just to phone you up. Well, you can do a credit card transaction or a pre-auth or and capture a pre-authorization of a credit card. Our system caters for all of that. You can just log into the Integrapay portal and with the customer over the phone and do the transaction in real time or the pre-auth in real time. So this is another service that our system has. We have a full API, which is the API is for integrated clients. So that's why we are very big with our different CRMs. Like I was saying earlier, we have close to now 50 odd different softwares that are integrated onto our system for secure, seamless payments, just like we are with Xero. So they're using our API, or in our case, we actually integrate onto Xero's API. And all that is basically the connection, the language for the two systems to work securely. And transactions are processed seamlessly and updated seamlessly, vice versa. In tokenization, I touched on that before. In regards to the security, batch payments for organisations that may not want Integrapay to schedule transactions, but they have their own payments system that provides either an ABA file, like we were talking about, of payments to debit people's accounts. So that's when we accept all different types of either ABA, CSV, and other Scholar formats to batch collect transactions.
So that's leaving no account.
Pardon?
That's leaving us. Is that batch payment?
No, this is actually batch payments of collecting the direct debits as opposed
batch
to
collection.
Batch collection, yeah. Not in the payroll world, but as we talked about before.
So a couple of questions for you. I've got a client that's which is very normal. It's a martial arts club.
Yes.
They have a membership just like a health club. People are forever tipping in, tipping out, adding classes, temporarily suspending. At the moment, they're with a major bank that has an Excel spreadsheet. They go row by row by row and delete out rows or adding or change amounts. Is there some portal line that you provide that makes it fluid in terms of either the client can self-certify suspending and recommencing, or like, how do you deal with that sort of situation?
Absolutely, we have the
probably 500 recurring invoices a week.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's two ways that there's our Integrapay console, which I can provide a brief demonstration of soon. It's probably, if you wanted to, I can jump into that at any point. But that's
So
where
it's a website.
it's a website. It's a console. It's a website where it's fully secure login, and you can have, like in the case of the martial arts, they may have different managers or other staff members they'll all have their own secure login. They can add a new member, and when the member joins, they can set up that member in the console.
Yeah.
Either manually or they can, when the customer complete an electronic.
They're at Xero users conceptually, they have a repeating, which I know you're going to show us.
Yeah.
So I'm not so worried about the onboarding side, but what about the management of the membership piece?
Yeah.
Constant change, yes.
Yeah, the constant change of the values up and down. So we're
Or is there any way you can say suspend me for 3 weeks and then recommit?
that's again, yes.
Those sorts of situations. And you do that in the console?
You can do that in the console, quite simple. You can see that basically when you set up a customer's direct debits, we will show the next 13 transactions.
Right.
Just visually, it'll actually in the background there's more.
Yeah.
And so they can, and there's also statuses for every single one of their members. So they can an active status, a suspended status, or a cancelled status.
And is there any coding whereby you can embed this into the client's website such that the members can self-serve? They can, like a newspaper subscription, they can turn it off with their own notification.
Unfortunately, not to that particular level. The access that we actually provide is purely just client-based. It's not hasn't extended to that point where it's the customer sort of turning on the direct debit.
Big step up from this bloody spreadsheet.
Absolutely, yeah. Even if you said spreadsheet, I'm there going, no, yeah. But there's different. There are a couple of avenues for them. One is our console, and there's a couple of partners that we deal with, which is Clubworks is one of them. Perfect Gym is another. These are cloud-based management CRMs that have been designed purely for. And when I say cloud-based as well, they're not expensive CRMs.
What are they called again?
There's one. The first one's Clubworks.
Yeah.
They're actually a Brisbane-based company.
Okay.
Right, also global, they're in the States as well as New Zealand, and I think they're about to start up in the UK. Clubworks. The K is X, so WORX. Matt McGowan is the founder and owner of that company, and great guy, but his software is perfectly suited for this market. Right, and
Also integrate with, the accounting solutions.
Oh no, it unfortunately doesn't integrate with any accounting solutions. I don't believe. But
it integrates with the payment solution.
It integrates with Integrapay. Yeah. So basically, you're picking up Clubworks, which will actually assist them very much in managing their members. It has a lot of. It's basically a sort of solution whereby you can have all the members' details. They may have different family members. So it's going to have a lot more of that information about the client, and then it also schedules the transactions.
So you've got something like Clubworks, you don't have to go into the Integrapay page to manage it.
No, you do it all in there. Yeah.
And then my other question was, I'm sure you get it all the time, but within Xero or other solutions you integrate with, is there any opportunity to take the fee up to recover your fee?
Absolutely.
Say how less than Xero, the start license, for example, which is industry laws, just not sweep it. I think they might do it now. But do you do that? Because that's, I get very much SMEs and they just can't get over that.
Yeah.
They have to gross it up.
Oh, right. It's,
So, for example, my fee out of my Xero might be $130, and then when you pay me with Integrapay, you come into whatever your little dialogue box is, it then turns into $134.
right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so. Okay. So in terms of hopefully I'm going to answer this correctly, but in terms of passing on the transaction fee, our systems will do that automatically, right? But when we pay the business, so when I pay within Xero especially, when I'm paying they're paying you that $134, or if the invoice amount was $134, in your banking account you will receive $134. So even though there may have been a $2 transaction fee or a $1 transaction fee applicable to that, right, you will still have in your banking account $134, so that the reconciliation is perfect.
Where does the difference go?
So actually, it's a good point. I'll touch on the way the money flows. So with regards to Integrapay, we have a trust account with our sponsoring bank, and our sponsor bank is Westbank. So any transaction that we do on credit card and direct debit all goes into that the trust account, and then we settle those funds out on every second business day. Right? So it's basically a 2 business day clearance. Now, if the transaction fee is paid for by the payer, it is added on to that invoice amount. So you could invoice $134. If our transaction fee is $1, we'll debit from their account $135. On our Xero page, that when they've made that payment, they will see that there was a $1 processing fee, for example.
Yes.
And so they're made aware of that at all times. And on the transaction confirmation receipt that we provide back, it will also show that there was a $1 processing fee if that fee was to be passed over to the payer. Now, when the funds actually hit our trust account, when on the settlement day, our system will then split, go 134 goes to the business and $1 goes to Integrapay as the processing fee.
Oh, so I think what I'm hearing correctly is you can only choose an option that is exactly your transaction fee. There's no option to say take me up by 2% or 4%.
Oh no, I can't do that.
So
And then the remainder of
no, it has to be, but I'm just kind of curious.
Okay, so I do have clients, not necessarily. In terms of merchants, and we can't go gouging, I suppose, is what the change is. However, there may be additional transaction-based fees that are applicable, to that particular transaction that aren't Integrapay fees. So, for example, if there was, it's similar to what you were saying before about Xero, where once you get over 100 employees, the price goes up. Whatever. So there may be a case of there's on each transaction, so we've got the invoiced amount is X, but there's another transaction, another fee, so maybe $2 that needs to go back to the business, and then you've got the
So how
Integrapay
does that
fee.
work in terms of the Xero side? Like if it's $130 invoice and your fee is $2, and then I charge another $1, so you've got $133. How does the accounting work there out of the trust account?
Well, so that's the Integrapay.
Take your $1 and put $132 in?
We'll put 132 in, or we can separate the $2. And so the $2, not in Xero. See, we can't control what the invoice says.
So you don't get the green match in that instance.
Pardon?
You wouldn't get the auto match in Xero.
If that $2 that you're talking about in addition was in the invoice, is that going to be in the invoice?
No, probably not.
No. So you will still get the match. We will.
How would you find that?
So I've got the way that Integrapay works in the back end. I can do a $1 transaction fee and split it 100 ways.
So what you're saying is I would say 2 deposits in Xero, one for 130 and one for 2, and then you take your home.
That's correct.
That's clever.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very. I love the way that our Jason, our developer, built a back end system. But I can actually do that. So I've got
clients. In my instance is payment providers make deposits and fees.
No.
Unless you strike with the Xero fees.
Yeah. Well, with all our Xero clients, we deposit gross funds. So we don't take our fees out all the way through.
Yeah.
Right. So if I've got a client that said no, I want to absorb our Integrapay transaction fee, I set them up on a gross fee. So I bill in arrears for our fees. So you'll always get the invoiced amount into Xero.
Cool.
Yeah. That's the way it has to be. Well, that's nothing much.
Does Xero close accounts pay the instant your customer pays?
As soon as the transaction is cleared on our side, that's when the invoice will be marked as paid. So if it's a real. Pardon?
It happens prior to the bank fee arriving in the office.
That's correct. If I jump into Xero in Xero mode, to where it is. So basically, with the transaction that we like, if it's a single sales invoice, so it's paid by credit card. That's going to happen in real time. So you generate your invoice in Xero, send it out as you normally would. The customer receives the email, and they'll click on the link to go to see their invoice, and then the customer will click Pay Now. At that point, they'll see our hosted payment page, and so which I'll demonstrate in a tick. They click Pay Now, and they see the hosted payment page, and they'll complete that with their credit card details. Now, because this is a single sales invoice and paid by credit card happening in real time, the we'll get immediate response back to say that that transaction was successful, and immediately we'll update the invoice inside Xero as paid and automatically reconcile the transaction if you want us to. So we have that ability to automatically, because we know that because we've got a positive response back immediately, that we have the exact same amount as what was as the invoice, and we can update and auto-reconcile that transaction on the way through. Now, because like with most payment providers, when you receive the monies from us, it's going to be a lump sum. So you could have 10 transactions, $1,000, so you're going to get $10,000 in a banking account. You don't need to go through and mark and basically reconcile those 10 transactions. You'd want to be able to just do it in one click, essentially, to do the reconciliation. So
So I think you're saying you do a batch deposit on things.
We'd always do a batch deposit, yeah. So for that reason, we ask clients to set up a clearing account, current assets account, that's able to receive funds. And so we're using that as your way station. Obviously, you guys, I'm not an accountant, so you know more about clearing accounts than me. And so when Integrapay does a transaction, we're marking the invoices paid, auto-reconciling the invoice, and the line item that we're putting into Xero goes into the clearing account as a debit. And when the real money's come in, all you have to do is reconcile that. Okay, Integrapay sent a deposit statement to say that we're going to pay me 10 grand, $10,000. I've received $10,000. I can now go okay on that and reconcile the transaction. Now, what I haven't said is what I also suggest clients to do is set up a bank rule. So anything that comes into the bank that from Integrapay automatically assigns it to the clearing account. So then it just automatically quickly matches, go okay, and my 10 invoices and payments are done once the clearing account, I go back to Xero or nil. So I've got some of our clients that are using our system. One is a very large IT company based down in Melbourne, in Sydney. They've got now 800 recurring-based transactions happening, being debited on the 15th of every month through Xero. And the reconciliation takes them 1 click to do. So around 800 odd transactions, all settling on the same day.
800 through Xero?
Through Xero.
That's a huge number.
It's a massive amount, yeah. There's a couple like that. There's another company there's another company in Melbourne, but there's also another company in Sydney that are also up around the 500 odd recurring transactions, all managed from within Xero. And it's all single click auto reconciliation when the funds come in. They don't have to do, it's just wiped out their book work in regards to that. Beforehand, they were with a different provider and they had to manually go through and reconcile every transaction. And it's just taken it all away. So in terms of efficiency, yeah, I absolutely love it. Yeah, some people don't like clearing accounts, and I can understand why. Because if not managed, it's like it's like the naughty teenagers. They can go off and they can get uncontrolled.
I guess it's only for Integrapay. I mean,
it is.
Our commission does that too.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly the same concept.
Yeah.
The markets pay too, clearing account, and one does it with the contract.
Yeah.
And it's only that payment that presumably is for the tree.
Yeah, and that's what in one of it. I also have clients that are using our console for transactions and collecting payments through Integrapay, but not through Xero, outside of Xero invoices. And they also are doing Xero. But I actually, with Integrapay, I set them up with a couple of accounts in our system so I can ensure that Xero transactions are deposited separately at the moment. I've got another solution coming in a track for that to support it, but I need to ensure that Xero transactions are independent and they're settling, so I can make sure that their clearing account is accurate every time.
Oh, no, you lost the screen.
Oh, well, I've lost it. Page still on sleep. So, would you like me to just jump over into Xero world? Or? Yeah, okay. More than happy to.
One of the big bugbears I've got with clients because I do a lot of work in e-commerce, and so clients, they might have several sales channels where sometimes they'll invoice directly from Xero, and they'll have a pay now and there, and they'll do some automation around it, and sometimes they're using the same payment method but through a different sales channel, and the automation just gets all weird and funny, and we have different workarounds for different ways. And I'm thinking of another client that they're also a membership-based service, like they're like a subscription-based professional accreditation association, and they take their sales from their website through the payment like yourself or Stripe or whomever, but there's no automatic closing down in Xero, like the sales are initiated in Xero.
Correct. Yeah.
And so there seems to be no one that's sort of popped up in this space, and maybe it's not possible. They can accept the payment outside of the Xero sphere, but be capable of, through the API, closing it down automatically. That would be a great innovation.
One of my other software partners, Simpro, and they're a software in the they're a Xero add-on, and they'll be down at Xero as well. And the way that their system actually does work is because the Simpro management is it's a huge, wonderful software, but their enterprise product also sends out invoices, and it always has. And Integrapay is the payment piece behind that. So, in a similar where the invoice will go out, and then where a customer can click and present it with a page, and it updates Simpro Enterprise. But Simpro, what they've actually done at that point is push that invoice over into Xero. Right, so taking that piece, they've been able to.
There is such a market, like pick a shopping cart with Shopify, for example, and a payment method such as Integrapay, that has an ability via the API and clever coding to go find that invoice and close it down against your payment method. I'm not seeing that, I don't think it exists yet.
No.
It's usually for within the Simpro or Xero, but not outside.
Yeah. I want it.
Great,
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah. I had the conversation with it in a development meeting, and so conscious of video, but anyway, but yes, but yeah, it's exactly that. There needs to be
because most people don't want, particularly in the e-commerce space, they want an invoice from the shopping cart on their website.
Yeah.
And there's no automation in the back end for Gmail properly.
No. There needs to be that link. It has to, and then currently, because that's the thing, the Xero solution works beautifully, but the transaction has to happen.
Yes.
From the Xero invoice.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the way it currently stands, and that's pretty much the same with the majority. Yeah, and so we've got to, we've got to carry forward
So
what happens outside.
is that I look on Shopify or Xero or on your website directly or via Xero, and no matter where they pay using my service, I'll close that down.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, so that's that comes now. What I'm going to do, let's go to. I've entered in my.
So is this your console you're showing?
This is our console. So this is all through the Wi-Fi here. This is what a client would see. And I know that this is probably a bit fuzzy online, but basically, if I really wanted to walk through the console, this is exactly what the client's provided with. Okay, they're given a solution where they can, if I really point to it, we've got recent settlements, which is just going to show what the settlements were that we've actually paid recently, I suppose, recent deposits. What we've done in the past 7 months, communications and invoices that we've sent out by email, we retrieve the past ones, but there's also an area in the system as well that you can get every invoice that we ever sent through. Payer summary is payers are the people that we have in the system that are paying you on a recurring-based transaction, or we have a record on. So, like I was saying before, every single payer in our system has a status, so they're either going to be cancelled, suspended, or active. So if you wanted to, in the case of the martial arts, you can just go in, if someone's gone away on Christmas holidays, change the status to suspended, and then payments will come out. Or you can get rid of it, just delete the next 3 or 4 payments, and then it just automatically leave them active, but then it just starts up again. There's a lot of flexibility there when it comes to that. And now, but I won't go into too much detail there. What I want to do, where do I start this one? We're talking about Xero and how we work in Xero. So I'm going to move over or brush over a few things just to say that we've already set up and linked our account with Xero. And when you have a join up with Integrapay, you link your Integrapay account with your Xero software. It takes about 2 minutes.
Do you give the custom URL so you can?
We do integrate via the custom URL. Yeah, at this point. Yeah, that's the conversation for the 14th. Because it involves more integration, I suppose, from Xero's end with us. But the custom URL is the way that we way through, and it works beautifully in that sense as well.
Tell them everyone says you're their favourite.
Pardon?
When you have that conversation, tell them everyone says you're their favourite.
Okay.
So you need to be there.
I need to be there. I need to be on that drop-down list.
Call us over, we'll come and help you with that.
So by the sounds of it, you may be familiar with that integration of custom URL, but it really is just a very simple, go into Integrapay, click an authorise button, log into your Xero and nominate the organisation that you want to link to Integrapay. After that, it's very simple in the case of grabbing a custom URL, pasting it into a payment service inside Xero, and assigning that payment service to an invoice. It's quite simple in that sense. So if I looked at Xero, the payment services, it's a nice
Yeah. There is a sound.
That's going to be
Soundgarden, big sound.
Big sound, yeah. So basically, so that's right. I'll talk over the top of that. So Integrapay is listed there as a payment service, and the custom URL just goes in. Quite simple. Okay. So what I did, in terms of just, I suppose, showing how the invoice components work, I created a couple of contacts earlier. I think I called them Cloud. So I'll just go search. There we go. So we'll do a real-time transaction. So we've already got our payment services already hooked up, so I've skipped over that, and I've got my different invoice brands. So I've created actually an invoice brand of real-time payment. I've also created an invoice brand of recurring-based transaction. And brands are one of the things that's quite key with Integrapay. We use brands in your to, I suppose. Yeah, the brand invoice. Yeah, they're just the invoice brand. If I actually just quickly go back. Yeah. So when we ask when a client gets set up and in part of our load instructions, we suggest that they create two branding themes, two invoice brands. One called Integrapay Real-Time, or single sales invoice, and one called Integrapay Direct Debit. So then, because then you're going to control what you want or how you want customers to pay, and it's the branding theme that tells Integrapay what options we want to display to the customer.
So you supply docx for that?
No. It's just a standard. Just use the standard.
Copy and use that same.
Yeah, just create one, call it that name. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a docx, so it works with docx as well. But you just basically create another couple of invoices that specify that they're linked there into Integrapay. So we're going to create an sales invoice. Quickly go through. So obviously, because I've got two or more branding themes, I've got the drop down there to select, which branding theme I want. If I default the top one, it's going to be single sales invoice. It's going to be transaction, a demo value of $15, and go approve. Zip. We can start. So instead of actually emailing to myself, I'll go down and check out. So this is a very, I don't know whether everyone knows you know all about the share invoice function. So basically, instead of, if you want to really see what an invoice looks like, or what the customer sees after they get your email, just go share invoice. It brings up this URL page. I can see it.
Where did you go to do that?
You have to become an Integrapay client. No. So share invoice options.
That's a really long list there, isn't it?
Yeah, so you've got your online payments, which is actually hooks into.
Normally I email
Just go down, right down the bottom, share invoice. Yeah. It used to be over here near where the preview was, but preview.
Preview still there, so what's the difference?
Preview is just, it'll bring it up on the screen like this.
You don't get to pay now.
Okay, look at that.
Yeah. So that sort of shows it in that light, but if you want to actually see that, go down to share invoice and it'll bring up the page. And that's our invoice. Click on pay now. Alright. And this is the host and payment page. Now, we've got the Integrapay logo at the top. If we have your logo will appear there. So when we set you up, we just set you, we'll ask for a copy of your logo. So it'll look like your invoice. I've got sales demo, but that's actually the name of the business the customer's paying. Pulls through the value automatically, they can't change it, and what the Xero invoice number is. So let's go through, we'll make a payment. I put in a bogus email address one time and actually it was somebody email address. So I've always tended to use my own now. I've had an email.
And do you have the options to either like those choices up or not, or is that just what you always offer? If you didn't want to offer BPay,
if you didn't want to offer BPay, it can be turned off.
And that's not at your end before you get the custom URL, so you just know what to offer there.
That's correct. Yeah. So currently the way that the payment services are company-wide. So in terms of what we set you up, we can't do it on an invoice by invoice basis yet, but I will be having that very soon. It probably may not be before Christmas.
And that's also where I would say you gross me up by 2%. I would give you those instructions before the custom URL and the program is designed for me as a client.
That is correct. So
see there it says in there.
Yeah. So basically, So currently, So underneath the credit card, it'll say what the fee is that's going to be added on. In a sense, it's the same for bank, but in this particular client, I just don't have fees in there for bank. So in other words, this client at the moment is paying, they're absorbing the direct debit fee, but they're passing on the credit card fee. Essentially, because that's good, because credit card fees are actually, transactions are more expensive. What we can't do is add a transaction fee on for BPay, because BPay is a manual payments solution. So if there's any fees there, they will appear here. Now you'll notice that I've got a percentage here currently at the moment, like 1.98% plus 33. That's going to be changing in the very short space for very near future to actually tell you what the value is, as opposed to a percentage. So at least they'll know, okay, I'm paying $55 plus, instead of having to work out what's 1.98 plus 33%, blah, 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 we'll actually just state transaction fee of X will apply. So it's just to take away that thinking. So we'll put in our card number. Test. Whoops. Time type. Expiry date. So our invoice currently is all just sitting there as waiting payment. Just want to move that box out of the way. So that's our invoice back to Xero. Okay. And this is actually my Xero version here is exactly I'm paying for that Xero. Yeah, it's a normal Xero version that everybody else would actually have. And even though this is a sandbox test account, it operates in exactly the same way. I'll just bring that page back down and split it up. Okay, so I paid $55 plus the $1.41 transaction fee. So that's what I was saying before. It's in the sense, it's actually going to change to you pay $56.41, including the $1.41 transaction fee. It's going to change to that as well. If I look at my Xero invoice, it's now going to mark as paid. Right? That's just happens like that in the real world. If I look at the transaction itself, and it's reconciled. And if I look at my clearing account related to this, so this is the clearing account that I've got hooked into this, got linked. I probably should have picked a different value because there's probably a lot of values in here, but this is still a transaction here. So it's in there as my clearing account, $55. As you know. So when I do my credit, I'm going to, when I get the monies coming in, I'm going to have a $55 corresponding credit that goes to the clearing account to take it back to
So that wasn't so transparent though, was that you left the invoice, you went to another website, and you completed it, and when you submitted your payment, you stayed there. Just to comparing it to Stripe, I'm sorry, but Stripe is a little sexier, I think, in that it's a smaller window.
Yeah.
It lives on top of
It lives on top of the invoice.
And it's very, very, and then when you press submit, you're back in the invoice again.
Okay,
Which is kind of cool, I think, from a visual, because it's all about how it looks. Right?
Yeah.
But there's certainly a ton of functionality there. It's not on offer for Stripe.
Yeah.
Just like the thing.
Yeah, I do like the way that works. I haven't seen the Stripe one exactly, but I know exactly what you're saying.
It's really good.
The back
I used to use PayPal, and I left it because I didn't like the visual.
That's it. No, to be honest, I don't think it's Java, but there's a particular code.
It's really
But no, the Stripe one.
Oh,
and the way that they've actually done it, and whatever, it's beautiful. It really is.
Nice.
And the worst thing about it, I really like the guys at Stripe because I sat down. It was over Money 2020 conference that happens in Vegas, of all places.
Money 2020.
Money 2020.
Money 2020. What happens at Money 2020?
Stays
there, yeah.
So that guy, but I can't recall the gentleman's name, but one of the founding brothers, of Stripe, and he was up on stage, and my goodness, I know that I'm actually talking about Stripe, but beautiful man, and a young guy under 30, but the amount of information he provided, the way that he spoke, and all the rest of it, he just loves what he does. So, all good to him. But the tech that they've got a very good team of developers. It's very smart. So, I appreciate being.
Well, I couldn't speak for everybody, but for me, the best is to be a cloud advisor. Visual is very important.
Absolutely.
Because I'm kind of very softly handling awareness on it in this compliance.
Yep.
That fee that, sorry to ask the questions that also came out,
You're
is
fine.
that your fee, or does that change based on the client, the 1.98 plus 30%?
Typically, our fee for a Xero client is 1.98 plus 33 cents a transaction. That's correct.
So
Pardon?
it's quite, compared to competitors, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but not necessarily expensive, I suppose.
That's right. It's
1.75.
30 cents.
Yeah.
So what's gonna propel me your way? Is it the direct data functionality?
A lot of the time, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the bank, so around 60 to 70% of our transactions that go through Xero are bank debit. Right? So.
But again, why not? And again, I'm really thinking of myself, so I apologize. There's no way that
No.
But why would I even want to offer a bank deposit option there when I know it's, well, again, assuming you're right, how do you charge 1.5%?
No,
What do you charge?
88 cents.
A flat 88 cents.
Flat fee.
But why would I even want to do that? Why would my clients just look at the bottom line invoice and want it and make it transfer it over? Is it just to try to save that day or two? It's so easy.
In one way, it's simple, I suppose, because they can just put their BSB account number into that page.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is that businesses are now reluctant, had to shift away from businesses putting their BSB account numbers on the invoice, because see, it's like you literally are giving a BSB account number on an invoice that could be then easily, it's like just no one drops their bank statement into the trash anymore, in the sense because they're concerned that their details are going to be, I suppose, compromised, right? But people still send out invoices with their BSB account number on the base of it. So I've got a plumber that I had to pay stuff for in Bundaberg, and for me to pay, I had to deposit monies into his BSB account number. But that invoice, that is, one piece of fraud that we actually had, an attempted fraud transaction, as a guy that was posing to buy stuff on eBay at the time, and he was saying, yes, I'm going to buy that, can you send me your BSB account number and I'll deposit the funds into your account. So what he actually did was get a whole heap of BSB account numbers and then went to a debiting company and then tried to debit those people's accounts. Right, and so so it wasn't credit card fraud; it was bank fraud. So people are getting quite conscious about just giving out that. But yeah,
I think we're so great, particularly as Australians, to look at the bottom of our invoices
in transfer,
and whether I would be comfortable. I mean, I guess it's just a shift in thinking. Your fee, 88 cents, is that the same for direct debit? Is it just 88 cents for direct debit?
No, it's just 88 cents for direct debit.
Per direct debit.
Per direct debit.
Or one-off real-time transfer.
Or a one-off real-time transfer, yeah. So your recurring transactions.
Please forgive me.
No.
But why wouldn't I choose you for direct debits instead of Stripe or credit cards?
You possibly, but you possibly could.
So,
But like I was saying, my standard rate for if someone phoned up and said, "What's my rate and what my advertised rate is online of a credit card transaction is 1.98 plus 33." And so, absolutely. So in terms of the trend,
as an e-commerce advisor, which is very much a position myself.
Yeah.
They look to me. You can probably tell across rates. I look at all the time. I'm going to either be compelled by the visual
Yep.
or the fee. Those are really the two things that drive me as an advisor. Yeah. So I would be hard pressed at that fee to recommend. Unless they're looking for the full functionality of the direct debit. I apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, and I'm not taking it that way.
Yeah.
I
would love just a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Stripe's a very, very aggressive competitor to go up against because
they've got that type Xero integration, which is very important. So you don't get there.
no, I've got to get the Xero integration, but at the same time, with Stripe as well, which this is another thing. Their Amex is also 1.75.
Yeah.
Right? My Amex is exactly. Yeah, it's much higher because there's so we've been. That is correct. There's obviously different conversations being had with Amex and Stripe as opposed to what we've been able to have with our Amex. So we've been so we're trying to get our Amex down.
Xero really is you don't have to be agnostic, or you can be agnostic if it doesn't pay methods, and then you can share your connection.
Yeah. You can use that. Exactly that. And I'm quite sure that I do have probably some clients that do just use this for bank debit because we are the only ones that have bank debit in Xero. So, and they're possibly using Stripe or a different payment method for a different provider, credit card or something like that, possibly. But more than always happy to have a conversation. Yeah. No, it's good.
It's a great problem.
No. The UX UI side of it, the way it looks, feels, and whatever is definitely something that I'd always love to change. But it's just one of those things.
It's hard, isn't it? I'm sure it must be so difficult because you obviously make your pricing decisions on what you're being on charge for your things.
Correct.
And the bigger you are, the cheaper your fee you get because you're getting better deals.
Yeah.
Yet to compete with them, you really have to almost be a loss leader, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
But we're supporting Australian businesses with Joe and they're helping small business, putting his kids through school. He's laughing at that.
No, childcare. I was just thinking of my childcare fees.
I just let me pay for my childcare fees.
So basically, if I look at actually, where am I?
That 30-year-old Stripe guy doesn't have kids yet.
No.
He doesn't have childcare fees to pay.
No, not yet. It'll come, though. It'll come. I'll find another client.
So you're going to show us the repeat one now?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So we get on to the recurring. So basically, as you know, if you're going to create when you're creating a recurring invoice or inside Xero, it's actually just creating a template. And it's the template. So and we're going to start this one. So basically, what we've done by doing and allowing for repeating invoices, the template is your schedule engine. It's removing it away from Integrapay and putting it straight inside Xero. So when you're setting up this invoice, you're setting up the invoice in the terms that you want your customer to pay as such. So in this particular case, we'll do a weekly one. Actually, I might even just do it every fortnight. So if it's going to be fortnightly, every 2 weeks, simple. And I'm going to do the due date for today's date, just so that I can demonstrate it. But normally, the invoice date is the date sent out, but the due date is the date that the debit's taken. Okay, so that's the date that the debit will come from the person's account.
That'll be October.
Sorry.
You've got to change the invoice date to it because it's September now. So you either got to go 7th of August and make it that date. The invoice date is 7th of August.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to change this back to monthly. Sorry. I want to sort of have it
Yeah.
straight away.
So you want the 7th of August in the invoice date?
I want the 7th of the current month. Yeah, so I want it to sort of happen today. Yeah, so just because of just the demonstration, but normally you go 7th and then so the invoice date's the 7th, but then if it's going to be you want to give an invoice 7 days prior to its due, so then you just go 7 days after or whatever the case is. Yeah. So you've got your draft, approved, proof for sending. In this case, I'm going to just do the proof for sending. And then I'm going to select the Integrapay direct debit brand. Now, there's the reason for that. The direct debit, that particular brand is a brand that's been nominated back in Integrapay. That's the page that we want to provide or show the customer to get them set up onto direct debit.
So it's the same custom URL for both, but the brand denotes what they see, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So back in, and hopefully I'm still logged in.
So do they have to use specific wording so you recognize that as
yeah, so basically when we set up, one of the things that when we setting up your account, part of our work instructions is we're finding out whether the client actually is just doing a single invoice payments or they would like to do direct debit repeating invoice payments. Now, if they would like to do the recurring invoice payments, we're asking to, our system, Integrapay, is looking inside their Xero and listing out the number of invoice or what their names of their invoice brands are. So we're asking them which brand that you have in your Xero do you want to use when you want to get somebody set up on direct debit. So that's where that's nominated. So basically, at the moment, I've got sales direct debit or Integrapay direct debit as my two brands. If I don't use those, I can use a repeat invoice and send it out not on those brands. It's only going to show that same page as I had before, where it's allow for a single payment. But if by using that particular brand, and I'll finish this invoice. Right page. So what it's done, I'm just going to go forward. Okay, so it's created an invoice straight away because obviously I had it due for today. And I wanted that so I could actually show you what it looks like when a customer receives that first invoice. Because the first invoice itself happens immediately. Now, I know that we're sending these people up on direct debit, but it's the first transaction will always happen straight away. It's a way that we're able to validate straight away that account exists. And so you could be sending out a brand new customer on a repeating invoice. And if I can walk you through it, where it's the first of the month, you've sent out the invoice date's the first of the month, and the due date is the 10th of the month. So you send it out on the first of the month, but here's the customer. It's like if I receive my electricity bill, I'm receiving it months or days before or weeks before it's due. And I receive your invoice, it's due on the 10th, but it's the 5th, and I decide, that's it, I'm going to open up and pay. So that first transaction will go through straight away. It'll happen on the 5th. It's not going to wait until the 10th because it's the first one. It'll happen straight away. But the second and subsequent transactions will always happen on the scheduled time of the 10th of the month or whatever it is. Okay? So this is our repeating invoice, and I'll just have a look at that invoice the same way. Now, the page itself looks fairly similar, I suppose, but there's one little thing down the bottom. Now, this particular one, this is what I call a mandatory direct debit. So, in other words, it's not giving a customer the option to opt into a direct debit. It's telling them the account that they provide us is going to be used for all their future invoices. So this is the ones that gyms and like the cleaning companies. Well, see, when you go to a gym, you're not given an option to say, I want to pay by cash every time I turn up. Right? You put onto a direct debit. So that's why this form is the way that it is. I have another option, another form setting, which is optional. So what it'll actually have, instead of having this, it'll have another tick box to say, I would like payments to come from my nominator, the account nominator. Pardon?
I can quite clearly see if you publish yourself, but it's silent.
It's the above account will be used to debit or
Like if
future
I completed
payments.
that credit card section,
Yeah.
I'd have to really read that sentence underneath, and
We-
I'm going to tick the box.
Yeah.
But whilst you're reading,
But we also send you a direct debit form as well. So
is that just after the fact to confirm what you've done?
That's
So
correct.
there's no further action that's needed.
no further action up.
I was
So
more of a direct debit authority, the old fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fill out a big form, and then sign your name, and scan it, and
Well, yeah, you would probably maybe send them an email saying that you're going to do this, then do it. And then say, look, this was so awesome, why don't we get you signed up for this as well? And you do it for your clients.
I would want maybe to be a bit larger font than branding.
Pink.
And
Oh,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
the subtlety is purposeful, I get that, but I can always see a client doing it and get quite annoyed.
definitely not trying to sort of hide the fact. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. I don't think there's anything in the way that it sort of looks and whatever. There wasn't any intent to sort of hide it because we wanted them to know that it's
Yeah.
they're entering into the
Do
background.
you think that's quite a
It is quite subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for that, have you got any educational videos or something you can send out because this would be a new process for us, wouldn't it, to say something like Stripe, which is
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I do actually have videos in regards to this process. Yes.
Yeah, they've got used DocuSign, there's a little video that explains how to use it.
Yes. Yeah. No, and I do have videos in regards to how to get it set up and then setting up and how the direct debit part works.
I like how frictionless it is.
It's very
It's
good.
very frictionless.
I just can so see someone put that and
Yeah.
paying just that invoice.
Yeah.
And they get quite irate when they see the debit in month two.
So I'll probably get
Like the
Email.
charging it to us to see.
Like where it says I agree to the direct debit terms and conditions, I'd rather see that saying, I understand that this is a recurring debit and I will be charged at a set frequency on the invoice. You see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you said somewhere it was for the amount of the invoice or something like that. You said in the
Yeah. So basically,
Well, maybe we should wait, because the next screen might be.
no, the next screen it's a confirmation page. Basically,
Does it say, it's a little different, does it say this amount will be charged to your credit card on a set frequency?
no. It doesn't. Might as well.
Yeah, you could do, yeah, you could definitely pay attention to that.
Yeah. Good feedback to be honest. Yeah, it's just nice
I mean,
to.
we're all coming to you as accountants, right, so we're all.
Yeah, but,
I mean, if this was a gym, it would be really obvious we were paying on a monthly basis, so it would depend on the industry.
Yeah.
It does depend on the industry in a sense, but see, the majority of people that will send somebody one of these anyway, the clients are actually expecting to be put into direct debit.
Yes.
Which could be a surprise, I guess, in the professional services industry where you've got a real shift in the way you're treating the result.
Yeah. What I was actually going to do, I don't know whether it's going to happen straight away. I'm just going to quickly. Change this to optional.
That's kind of the way it's a lot of area.
So that's the other option.
Yeah.
That's the optional option. So I've got to now click that, and then my direct debit, I agree to the direct debit terms and conditions comes up.
See, you should do that in the other one.
Yeah, so that's
And instead of I would like, it would be I understand that.
correct.
That's
No,
much
and-
clearer.
See, I suppose, I don't know, business blindness, I suppose, for us we go, yeah, that makes sense. But it's good, and this is the thing, I haven't had that feedback before, so.
I totally agree with Casey on that.
Yeah, so, no, I can definitely have it a bit more, obviously,
Because
larger.
we're dealing with non-gym people who are.
Yeah.
And we've done things for so long a certain way, and now we're recommending quite a mind shift.
Yeah,
And I just know the way I complete these things. I would just sail through that and not read it.
yeah.
And I'll get clients that I have sent 8 emails to about a payment, and then they'll ring me up and scream at me because they've been charged an additional charge or something. I'm like, well, what about the other 8 emails? Oh, I didn't read those. but just that, I'm just going to scream when the red flag raises or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's great though.
No.
Super feature.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah. So you've got those 2 options or whatever. Yeah. But I can actually have a look at that. I'll let you know when I've changed that. Actually, it'll be. Yeah.
So I've signed up for that. It doesn't matter if I'm overseas, does it? It doesn't matter if I'm in America. I can still do the recurring payments to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean if the client itself is a
clients in America with a US American credit? Because that was a question. They get multiple payments from overseas, but they can do that.
Yeah. Currently,
Maybe not with the bank account.
yeah. The bank account obviously is just going to be BSB account number.
Yes, but with the credit card.
That's no problems. But we're going to debit $100 Australian onto a USA card. So from their account, it's going to be then 72. Yeah, I know the one change. But it's so they'll see $72 US or whatever, $76 US coming from their account. It's not going to show $100 US. It's because I do actually have clients that actually are billing in using their Xero currency, right? They wanted to send me an invoice in US dollars or New Zealand dollars and debit $100 New Zealand, but I cannot.
Can you scroll back up to say your name when you do this?
Partners of what?
Yeah, see, that's another clarification perhaps, and that's becoming a bigger issue. You should probably enter your currency next to Canada.
Well, see, if I'm in the UK, Wall Street, I suppose, I probably should put that there. In the UK, I've got the pound symbol.
Yeah, that's annoying. A lot of these things that you sign up for a subscription and you say dollars or US dollars.
I mean, I'm a minute on this is what we're at. Maybe I'm being it's one of them. It's
in New Zealand, so they charge US dollars, so it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack, it's not you.
Because it is, you're right. You just don't know necessarily
No.
what you're paying.
No, I think that's it. Yeah, no, it is good. To put it there. So I'll definitely throw that at the team as well to have the currency up there.
Good job we're recording this.
Yeah, that's true. I'll hold you to that. That's it. Currency's up. But in terms of those, someone using it as a payment option, if you want to send them an invoice from Australia and they're paying in the USA, that's not a problem.
Awesome. Who does the exchange rate? You?
Pardon?
The exchange rate?
No, it's all done on the card. It's just it's like as if I went overseas and used my Australian credit card in the States. And see, and that's the thing. The downside to it is that the card holder is going to get most likely an additional fee for that. But that is charged by their bank or their card issuer.
Yes.
As such. Essentially, this payment's going to happen exactly the same way as the other, and then later on, I can either go through and do it, but it's going to happen.
There's no way once that form is completed, as the customer, there is no way I can turn that off. I must contact my supplier to suspend or cancel the payment.
That is correct. Yeah.
That's. I guess it's no different than any other credit card.
Yeah, it's no different from June, isn't it? June, my son has to go in and pause it and stuff.
Yeah. It's just a little, I'm just thinking about potentially the whole clients or, it's frightening really, isn't it, that you're making
Same with like my energy bill.
So this would be great if you could say, just next to that, it would say indefinitely or 12 payments. You all can get those choices another. Do you follow? Like you can make a commitment, say, for 12 periods or 4 quarters.
Because we're putting inside Xero, we're actually putting that back in the control of the Xero of the business. But they can set up that.
So if the invoice didn't go out, it wouldn't charge.
It won't charge.
Yeah.
And you can set that up in the templates, can't you?
You can't have a meeting invoice, you can have a method.
Yeah.
But once again, like what you said, though, there's no control by the consumer.
Well,
it's
I
still
would be much more comfortable if I could, put a 12-month caveat on that.
Yeah.
And then, I renew in 12 months' time. it may encourage you to use that functionality far more so than just putting it on your checkbook down, which is what this is.
Yeah.
Which
But
is,
you don't have that with Minute.com or Spotify or you have a LinkedIn subscription. You just cancel it. Yeah. Or your energy bill if it's on auto payment. All of my bills are set up to auto pay. All of them. I figure it saves me 10 minutes for each bill, and I've got more chance of spotting an error with that 10 minutes of paying.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not. Well, it's like on Xero. You know, I can. You know, if I want to stop a Xero direct debit in my account, I've got to actually give them a call. You know, like I said, LinkedIn's different, Spotify and all those other things that we're now paying recurring bills for, and whatever. I've got a client, I've got to phone the business up, and the downside of that as well. If I want actually, if my credit card either gets lost, expired, or whatever, I've got to phone up a whole heap of different people to do that. That's the other part about it. But anyway, just on. Pardon? Yeah. The one thing our transactions that Integrapay does that I haven't mentioned as well, for credit card transactions, we are a registered recurring provider, and with our bank we're able to pass a recurring flag, what they call a recurring flag in credit card world. What that means is the card could expire, but as long as the card number still is valid, we can still do the transactions. So in other words, my card would have expired in August, I'm on recurring, but because Integrapay is a registered recurring provider, we actually can pass through the flags and the card transaction continue to go through, even though we don't have the updated expiry date. So which is
Usually when you
no. Mine don't, and that's so as long as the number's still valid, obviously. Yeah. But I've just had NAB just updated mine. Westpac's actually the company card got updated recently. Last year was ANZ. All still the same numbers. Yeah. So which is also So if we're looking at the repeat that template, what we were saying before, as well. Where are we used the template now? Possibly maybe do a search. So if this particular customer wanted to increase, decrease, change the amount, whatever, all I do is go into the template before the due date, update, as long as I change it here before the 7th.
I go in, I add the extra bit of information, like the extra charge for the month, and then I put an asterisk in the reference, and then after all the bills go out on the first of the month, I go back in, check the asterisk, and go back in and edit it and take the extra charge out of it. And I also make in the reference, this charge, you should only see this charge in October, if you see it again, let me know. I make mistakes.
Because the invoice will go out, as long as you've got a authorised proof of sending, the customer's going to get their invoice, but they've signed up for direct debit.
Yeah.
So on Integrapay's side, if I look at the payers, so we've now got a record of that customer inside of the Integrapay system. Click on that.
Look, I think the whole thing of collecting money is scary. You know, like it's really hard to get serious to go into something out, take money out.
And I guess if you think through it, I know it's just what we have to do months ago. I don't have to read direct debit anything. It's just now with IRP, they send an email and advice, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I take your point. I think it's just working in front of because it was our professions rather rigid and
it's funny because if I speak to businesses and say, generally when I speak to businesses, one thing they want in direct debit and recurring based transactions, and especially for cash flow, is control. They don't. If you're relying upon people to send you checks, send you pay by BPay or other manual payment methods, or come into, you're relying on them to actually make an effort to pay you. So you're going to be constantly chasing payments, right? But if you've got everybody in a recurring payment solution, right, you're taking your payment when it's due. So yes, you have to act responsibly and all the rest of it. That is the case. That's why we do a lot of checks on businesses. But you're now in control of your cash flow. The average number of, Integrapay runs at around a 3% failure rate at the moment across all of our businesses, which is actually quite phenomenal. It's quite a small amount. I know some other organisations that are Definitely.
I don't understand that.
3% of our transactions globally fail.
Or fairly small.
Yeah, so fail because of insufficient funds or incorrect accounts or something like that, whatever the reason is, but we're running at 3%. So if you look at that on a business, just using that same average, if I've got a business, I've got 100 clients, and so instead of having to chase up all of my clients at the month to go and get my invoice, I only have to now worry about the 3% that fail, as opposed to 100% of my clients as such. So in terms of cash flow, recurring payments are fantastic in that sense. But there is, what do they say? There was a Star Trek term that I was actually trying to think of. It was great responsibility and blah, blah, blah. So you've got the great power.
Great power comes great
Responsibility, yeah. So because that's the thing, you actually have the power to debit people's accounts. That's what Integrapay provides you with. So you've got a responsibly in that sense. So we created this particular customer record in the system. We've captured the Xero good. Every person inside Xero has a unique reference. So when another invoice comes out with that reference, or a repeating invoice brand, our system will pick it up and debit the account. If the customer clicks the Pay Now button, they will actually be shown a page that actually says, sit back and relax, your payment's already this will be debited automatically. So they won't be double debited. Anyway. Yeah.
No, I'm conscious of 70/20.
Yes, no, same here. So I know I'm probably just... No. That's pretty much, like, I mean, I can't really demonstrate BPay because BPay works the same way. I'd have to actually do a live transaction for BPay.
Now with that BPay, do you have to be signed up with my company's flat account? Do I have to sign up with BPay or are you guys BPay?
Currently we're the biller ID.
Right, so I'm not registered, you just give me that functionality.
That is correct, yeah. But see, at the moment it looks like they're paying Integrapay, right?
Yeah.
We're the biller code, true. But yeah, in very short space of time you're actually going to have your own name. Yeah, so currently with credit cards, they'll actually see your business name. Bank debits, they see your business name. But with BPay, they see Integrapay. So that will change soon. So that's pretty much the way that we operate in Xero. It's like,
How is it better than Easy Debit?
how's it better than Easy? Very, very good question.
Well, I don't use either. I just use Easy Debit on my clients.
Well, so
I'm going to have a look at this system.
Yeah.
How does it better?
Well, in terms of the functionality, Easy Debit only has credit card, and where we do have the bank debit in the BPay. So when I look at Xero, I suppose, is that what you mean in a Xero world?
Yeah,
Or
I've got
just-
Xero users,
Yeah.
and I can see Easy Debit credits coming into their bank account. So if they can change to integrate, like what's 4 things, for example, that Integrapay does that Easy Debit doesn't?
Yeah, well, okay, BPay, bank debit, recurring, and auto reconciliation. Those 4 things Easy Debit don't do. So they struggle with the auto reconciliation, and they don't do recurring at all. So they only do credit card on the single sales invoice, but we've also got the same with bank debit and BPay on the single sales invoice as well. So that's probably the main ones. If there's, I actually have access to a number of people's Xero accounts that provide me with access to their Xero accounts if they want to help and stuff like that. And I've got, Lester and Catherine, who are also Xero experts as well, they'll jump in and help wherever they can. So I've got 2 other people on staff that are Xero, and Catherine's actually an accountant as well. So we have them in our team specifically for Xero. So in terms of that, So I always hate to get into a price war because I do believe that everything should be like it's very easy to be the cheapest and all the rest of it all go a cheaper price. But we are actually cheaper than Easy Debit as well. But we're not cheaper than Strong. So that's probably some of the main ones. You can always get us on the phone. You can speak to a particular person. But in terms of functionality, that's the differences that we are with Easy.
And your fees and charges are made up of
They are, yeah. Yeah, so if I went to, if you, I'll put that in quickly, okay, oh no, they haven't. Now I know where to go after here, but so we have our fees. There we go. Yeah. So there are standard. So that's our standard fees. Yes.
Hey, John. Good job she's still working, hey? That was the double checking.
No, yeah.
Are those real people, by the way? They're really a Donna sitting there waiting.
I don't know whether her name really is Donna.
Okay,
But are they actually real people? Yes. Currently, during the
She
day,
doesn't look like that, does she?
I've never met her. So, one of our staff members, when we sort of first put this in, he was communicating with somebody over there and just stringing them along. But it is a company that is actually manned 24/7, but they man it after hours for us. Yeah, so it's kind of a big
Check notice the real people. So I'll go hi, it's Heather here, and they'll go, oh hi Heather, how you going? Hello, and then we'll get into then it will be like somewhat project, but
So, but yeah, anyway, so that's our transaction fees are listed there. Now,
what are your contact details for people listening in at home?
okay, so you can easily, all our contact details are available on integrapay.com. But for our general phone number, and I've just got it here, 1-800-173-628. Or you've got,